Hello everyone, we are live once again Sunday night, race number 11 for the Elite Racer Series Season 2. This one the third road course race of the season, this one from Mid-Ohio, a very unique racetrack that we don't normally see a lot of in heat leagues, but the Elite Racer Series going here. It's kind of been a unique schedule. We obviously had Road America, that was another unique road course, and now we're here at Mid-Ohio. I don't think I'm going to have anyone in the booth unless someone makes it late. I do have LT as in-race reporter person. So he'll be here. Obviously a good person to have, especially at a road course. He was one of the dominant cars at Watkins Glen and then won the race at Road America in a last corner effort over Kenny. So LT Mid-Ohio, you said you've never done a league race here, and you have all these unique corners, like you can send the keyhole, you have an annoying carousel, you have the S's that are very slow and kind of awkward. What do you expect out of this race?
I honestly have no idea. I feel like it's going to be a little bit survival because cautions are off and there's going to be a lot of contact, especially with stage restarts. So I feel like it's going to be just a replica of Road America, in my opinion. Just try to get away from people, get spaced out so you don't hit them, don't get hit by other people, and yeah, just go for it. I guess there's a lot of good people in here, so it's going to be a very competitive race, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, you're starting third, but the two people in front of you are not surprising. Kenny and Tiger. Tiger on pole, Kenny in second. You in third, Brennan in fourth. That is a very kind of normal top five, top four for a road course race on heat. But as you mentioned, you were talking about cautions and stages and whatnot. Well, there's a different procedure for this week at Mid-Ohio. Normally the road course races in this series, you just get the stage yellows and that's it. You get two stage yellows, and those are the yellows you get, because at road courses sometimes you get easy yellows for something that shouldn't be yellow. Well, we are going to be trying out manual yellows for the first time at a road course in this series. So there's still going to be the stage yellows, but think like F1, there's going to be sectors. The sectors don't mean anything besides for cautions. The first sector is from the start-finish line all the way to turn 3, kind of after that bend, which is considered turn 3. That is the first sector. The second sector goes all the way from there up into the middle of turns 9 and 10, which is called Thunder Valley. That's maybe the third or fourth longest straightaway on the course. And then the final sector goes from there all the way to the start-finish line. So basically with that, if there is a 5+ car wreck in the race, which the odds of that unlikely with 15 cars, but you never do know, there would be a manual yellow. Caution will come out at a certain sector. People can pit. Manual caution restarts will be single file. And then they're going to go either at a sector or at the start-finish line. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to be able to join soon. LT, you can tell me when.
You wait now.
Good, good. So we'll get ready to get going at another road course, the third of this season. And we have BKR coming off 2 straight victories in that 11 car. So we'll have to see if he can try and get a third one in a row. Obviously that reduction from Gateway still going strong, and the last time we were at a road course, I think it was KD winning it. So we'll see if he can go for another one. He enters as the points lead, or excuse me, he enters second in points behind Dirty Boy, who enters, I believe, 3 points up on him. So we'll see how that goes. Arrow's third in points, Brennan is fourth, BKR is fifth, Tango, LT, Big Jim, AJ, Allen, and some others. I think Workman's here for another race, so that'll be fun to see him try and work through and see what he can do. But we're getting ready to get going here at Mid-Ohio. We'll see if this one is just as chaotic as it was at Road America, because that was a very chaotic and fun and competitive race all throughout. So we're taking the green flag. Tiger and Kenny on the front row as they race off to turn 1, 15 cars deep, and already you can see them going into the grass. Tiger, a very shallow corner. Kenny able to come in with the lead because of that. LT up to second in the 19, and then you have Brennan trying to dive up the inside. Allen to his outside. This is definitely one of the biggest passing zones on the racetrack. It's the keyhole right here. A very, very tight right-hander, kind of like a Martinsville corner. Sends off from one long straightaway to another long straightaway as the front 3 remain the same. Some contact further back in the pack. Workman working inside of Tiger, who lost ground starting from pole. Now trying to get it back as they race off to turn 4 and already some contact in the back. KD goes around. So far he's the only one to spin out. He'll get it back going, but loses time to the back of the crowd as the back of the pack's 2 by 2. Big Jim is working under, that is Pens. Just in front of them is Arrow, third in the points. I think that's Koala in the 24 just ahead of them as well, so it's getting a little racy at the back of the pack. You have Alpha in that beautiful paint scheme, trying to work his way forward. And you have Big Jim side by side. I believe that's with Arrow, as Tiger trying to work past Allen for third as they've gotten by Brennan. Tiger goes wide in the carousel, gets into the grass, and here comes working from that spot. The 20 cannot get it, and Tiger will keep out in front of that 20 for now. He'll be fourth, but gone away is Kenny. He leads the first lap from second starting spot, and there you can see the drivers taken to the inside of the curb in turn 1. We assume that is legal, and that's just the faster way around. That's why people do it. So 10 lap stages. I believe it's going to be probably 10, 10, and somewhere around 20 for that final stage. So we'll see how that plays into it. Kenny long gone, the battle for second. LT out in front of that. Allen in third. Tiger in fourth. Workman in fifth just behind that. And then you have Brennan as well in the 9. There's Allen. He's getting a pressurized send from Tiger as he looks to the inside and now looking through 5 and then 6 and then into the S's. We'll see if Tiger can complete it. It looks like oh, Allen's fighting back. Allen barely lost out in that win at Talladega, so he definitely wants some redemption from that one. Right now battling inside the top 5 with some really good road course racers. Obviously Tiger won the pole. We know he's very, very good here. LT won earlier this season. Brendan very good at road course. Same with Workman, as LT will lose a spot. I believe that was to Tiger. So Tiger back up to second. LT back down to third. Kenny still leading, and the battle back behind LT getting a little heated. Allen has it. Workman wants that spot. That is for fourth. Workman over the back of Allen. Is race back, trying to get it done. He'll look inside the 88 to turn number 1, side by side for the 4th position. Workman able to cut tight underneath those curves, but Allen, the runoff, won. Able to keep it out in front of the 20 for now. Workman gonna look for a send here. LT looks to send on the outside of Tiger. A little bit late to the braking zone. That's where the corner where if you're going to enter the corner, do not do it behind someone. You're going to want to do it either to their outside or inside. With the bubble effect on this game, you can definitely start to send some people without you knowing it. You get within a car length of them, and you might be sending someone farther than they want to go into that corner. As it is getting dicey for fourth. Workman is pressuring Allen into trying to make a mistake, but all the while the 88's kind of holding the 20 up. Brennan is there on the back bumper of Workman saying you better go, and then he's saying that because Big Jim in 7th has closed in, so this is a 4-car race right now for 4th place. With Allen out in front, Workman in behind that, in that battle. Still Kenny leading it. Allen a little bit tighter through that corner, Workman a little bit wider, trying to get a run off as they now hit the carousel, one of the tougher corners on the racetrack. Allen made a mistake right there. So talked about how tough that corner was. You put a lot of wheel to it. You try to get back into the gas and just step sideways to the right off that corner. It's exactly what happened to Allen. He got into the grass and he's now back outside the top 7, back to around 8th places. Now Workman moves around, Brennan moves around, Big Jim moves around. That's now 4th, 5th, and 6th. As Big Jim looks for a dive on Brennan to the keyhole turn 2, gets up on the curbs. Workman overdrives the corner, and Big Jim, I think, he just spun on the curbs, got it back going, but losing some time there and maybe a position to, I think that's the 48 of Arrow. So Arrow moves around, Allen can move back around. So some mistakes happening from some high-profile drivers early on in this race. He's Arrow trying to work up. He's up to 6th. Got 2 spots from some drivers in front of him making mistakes. That was Allen and Big Jim. They sell in right behind him in 7th and 8th. AJ's 9th, and KD in 10th comes in 2nd in points. Trying to get back up to the leader of Kenny. So he still has a comfortable margin over Tiger and them. As Kenny hits the carousel, trying to get through it cleanly. It's a very hard corner to make, and he's wide off the... Oh, Kenny's wrecking on the front stretch into the inside wall. He'll get back going, but, I mean, that's just kind of the disaster here at Mid-Ohio. You have this big gap. He had 4.5 seconds to Tiger, but he just made that mistake. You know, he's pushing too hard, made that mistake. He cut the lead down now to under 2 seconds for Tiger. So that's a big mistake, but I was looking at Kenny's fuel trying to see how good he was. I think he just took 6 to go on the stage. I think he's a lap short on fuel. So the first and second stages should be the same length at about 10 laps. If you get about 9 laps of fuel here, you're going to be a lap short in both. And if the final stage is about 20 laps, you'll be 2 laps short. So that's where fuel saving might come into play. I don't see Kenny really trying to save at this moment. It looks like he's going fine without that, but for some of these drivers, maybe that's something to think about. If you are short on fuel, start short shifting, start keeping it. Maybe if you're to go to second in some corner, maybe just keep it in third. If you're to go to third, maybe keep it in fourth. You know, just so that, you know, the higher gears, they save fuel with the less shifting you do. So maybe that's something we'll start seeing some drivers do. Maybe some drivers already started doing it. That's why they've maybe fallen back. So we'll just have to see how that all plays out in terms of the fuel. Obviously, some of the drivers might be taking that into account, along with the left side tires. In this game, you can't take lefts. It's either 4 or none. So if you're going to have to pit for tires, you're going to have to take 4, not 2. So that'll be something interesting to watch as Kenny heads into turn number 2, the keyhole. Looking at Big Jim's fuel issue. His left's definitely the worst, but Big Jim on 5 to go. He just took 5 to go. The fuel's still at 5 laps, but it's been on 5 laps for quite a while. Big Jim right now off the first corner, heading into turn number 2, the keyhole, still on 5 laps. So at the moment we know he's less than a lap short. So he is about 2 turns to the good on a track which is more than 10 turns long. It's about 13 turns. So Big Jim is going to be, you know, within a lap of doing it, and obviously everyone else will be about within a lap as well. Kenny also short on fuel. So at what stage do these drivers decide that they want to try and start saving the fuel? Maybe start once again short shift. Kenny's keeping it in 4th through the S's. So now with Kenny keeping it in 4th through the S's, he's definitely trying to save that little bit now so they can go harder later in the stage to try and battle with Tiger. Tiger might not be saving the fuel. He might be going now, but Kenny is keeping it in 4th even through the carousel. That is trying to go for max fuel savings, trying to get it all done now within these few laps. We'll see how far that fuel savings got him. He's keeping it in 4th all the way through. We'll see if he ever goes down to 2nd at some point, as he's just hit 4 to go. The fuel was already on 4 laps for quite a bit. We'll see how short Kenny is on fuel for the stage, and how much he can maybe save by just slamming it in 4th and keeping it in there for a lap or 2. He's keeping it in, he kept it down to 3rd through the keyhole. That's a corner you'd go down to 2nd in, and Kenny needs to, because he's just about as short as Big Jim is. So Big Jim may have started saving earlier than Kenny, so that's why Kenny's in max fuel savings. He can only go 3 more laps, and Big Jim barely saved anything that time. So all these drivers, oh, Kenny's wrecked. Kenny wrecked at another dangerous spot on the track. That's off of, what is that, about turn 5 or so. That's a very interesting corner on this track as well. That's where the car gets very, very light, and it'll easily spin to the left, and it's caught Kenny off right there. So now Tiger moves out in front. The question is, has Tiger been saving fuel? And if he hasn't, can Kenny try and outsave him? Or is Tiger just going to be good to go? Or will he just try and push his luck on this? And how about drivers like LT in 3rd, Brennan and Workman, all these others? You know, what are they going to be doing in terms of the fuel saving department? And how close are they going to be? We're coming around to 3 to go right here, so time is running out. And obviously once we get to 2 to go, you can't pit. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how these drivers do. We'll have to see how this lap of saving went for Kenny. Even with that spin, did he save any fuel? He kept it in 4th for most of the lap. The only time he really shifted was the keyhole, and then when he spun out. So that can save a good chunk of fuel. He did save a good amount of fuel that lap. The previous lap, he had run out off of the keyhole, just right off of the exit of the corner. This lap, he saved that whole straightaway and maybe even more, as he's gotten down to that straightaway, still on 3 laps. So he still has not ticked over to 2. He saved that whole straightaway and more. He saved up through turn 5. Now he's looking to save up to turn 6. He saved, I'd say, about half a lap in just one lap. He goes wide that time, though. And again, another mistake out of Kenny. He possibly maybe kept it in fourth, and you do that, it's not going to rotate well, so I think that's what happened. He got too wide. That's going to hurt him. Now, LT moves up to second, but how much has LT been saving in this? Or is he just going to bite the bullet and maybe come down to pit road at some point? So we'll have to see. Tiger, I think, has started saving because he hasn't really pulled away. What's LT doing in the fuel saving department? Is he trying to just stretch it out all the way through? And the question is, how much do you get on zero before it starts sputtering? Because sometimes the game will give you a little bit on zero, and then you'll start sputtering maybe, 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds after you hit zero. So we'll have to see who can try and play that, right? Kenny's still keeping it in fourth through corners where he should be shifting down to about third or second. That is how much he's trying to save this fuel right now. He knows that, he doesn't want to be saving on the last lap. He wants to be going now, but we're coming to the last lap this time. He wants to be good to go for that last lap to where he can maybe just push it all out when some of these drivers might start to still be saving. Tiger might be good to go because he's kind of pulled a gap on both LT and Kenny. So maybe he's been saving a little bit more than the drivers in second and third. And how much has LT been saving? He's kind of just been hanging in the shells in third. Let's see how he does with that fuel saving. As well, see how much Kenny has saved this lap. He got to turn 6 last lap. We'll have to see how much he has saved this time as we come to the white flag in this stage. Kenny looking to pass LT back, and will do it. So it shows me that LT might be in fuel saving mode and still saving, while Kenny, I think, thinks he might be good to go. So we'll have to see here as we're coming to the white. Tiger's taking it. This is the last lap of the stage. Kenny in second is within a few corners of making it. He's about 2 laps short, so I think he'll be fine to just push it out here and try and go and catch Tiger. Kenny in second up to the keyhole. LT in third. All these drivers looking to save the fuel. Allen right now in fourth trying to make it. You have Big Jim in fifth. Big Jim looks to be a good amount short on fuel, though, so let's see when that car, if it sputters, when it does. But at the moment, it looks like the Pulsar Tiger, after making an early mistake, he went into the grass in turn 1 on the initial start. The first lap, the first corner, he lost the lead, fell back to about 5th or 6th. He got it back after a few Kenny mistakes and this fuel saving, and we'll see if it goes all right for him. He has Penn's a lap car in front of him, but he has a nice gap over Kenny. It's up over 4 seconds now. So Tiger doesn't really have to push it on Penn's. Penn's is going to let him go. Obviously, the 8 car knows he'll get the free pass because he's the only car 1 lap down when the yellow comes out. So he'll be able to still pit and do all the service, whatever. So Tiger through the carousel for the final time and into turn 13 for the final time. The pole sitter will pick up the stage 1 win. Does just enough to save the fuel. It looks like Kenny, right where he started, is going to end up in second. LT, right where he started, will end up in third. Allen will go from 5th to 4th. And I think Big Jim barely hangs on over Workman. That thing was out of fuel, sputtering off the final corner. Big Jim holds on to 5th over Workman. So a fuel-saving stage, but that's not going to be the only fuel-saving these drivers are going to have to do. At road courses, normally the first and second stages are the same length. So LT, you're able to save the fuel there. So how do you feel about this next stage? It looks like you're going to probably have to do it again.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to make it. My left front was actually almost blown, and I was really short in fuel, but then I threw it in third for most of the lap. So just barely made it. I didn't know it was going to be a fuel-saving stage, but yeah, that was intense. Hopefully we could go like real racing in a few moments, though.
Well, I can tell you from past experience, right? I believe, I'm trying to recall the last time I raced at Mid-Ohio in a league race. It was a long time ago. It was the Code Red Cup Series, the first race back after the little break it had. But if I recall, I'm pretty sure I had to save both Stage 1 and Stage 2, and then Stage 3, I think, was borderline saving. So you might not be enjoying the rest of this race.
Sounds like fun.
If it's like that. So, KD, that's... Alright, well, KD leads. I don't know if he pitted within, some point he decided, I don't know, but he's second, or leading, excuse me, so let's see how it goes into turn 1. New face up front, second in points. He'll run Tiger wide. Here comes Kenny, 3 wide, power move to the, I guess that's the inside of the mall. KD into the grass, backing out. Kenny gets the lead, Tiger in second. LT back up to third. Tiger aggressively into the keyhole, goes wide. All of them are wide. LT to the inside and Big Jim to the inside. Off of the keel, off turn 2. Looking through for the lead into the grass, back behind. Kenny clears and leads. Big Jim going for a second, the highest. He'll be all race long if he can complete the pass. These are going all crazy around this racetrack on the start. That's what these restarts are, road courses. Big Jim aggressively into turn 4. We have one way off into the grass and spinning around. So far it's only one. Big Jim and Kenny bow for the lead. Big Jim on the outside of Kenny. Still fighting hard. This is a treacherous part of the track to be going side by side and racing hard like that. They're still racing for third. Kenny and Big Jim still racing for the lead. Tiger and LT for third. The bow for the lead. Still Big Jim and Kenny. And still side by side, door to door. No one giving any ground. Kenny finally clears Big Jim. What a battle that was for the front 4 positions. It will come out with now, it looks like Workman up to 4th and Tiger back to 5th. As the rest of the field tries to sort it out all the way through now. The carousel, Kenny wide. Big Jim a little bit narrower through there. Big Jim back into the gas sooner because of the line he took. But Kenny able to keep the lead of the first lap of this stage. It's been an aggressive start to this stage for something that looks like they might be short on fuel for. So, I mean, obviously you can save a good bit of fuel here. At a road course, it's quite easy to save. That doesn't make it, you know, that doesn't make it that easy, but it's easier to save here than say at a track like Michigan or a track like Kansas or Chicagoland where you're just kind of in the gas all the time. Here with all the shifting, you can easily save fuel. I mean, talked about Kenny, he saved about half a lap in a lap with his maximum fuel saving. So if you're Kenny, you might try and stretch it out here, and then once you get to 5 to go, start saving. Maybe that's the play for Kenny and some of these front runners. Get a gap and then start saving, while others might be thinking save now and then go hard later. As there was a 3-way battle for third. Workman loose in LT as I think Tiger was all in the middle of that. KD's watching that. Ellen's watching that. That is getting intense. And all behind that you have AJ coming up. I don't know who that Hooters car is. I don't think I've seen them all race long. I'm trying to tell who that is. I'm still trying to find out who that is. That is BKR in the 11. He's working under AJ. Some contact made. AJ's off in the grass. He may have spun around because that was a very aggressive move that happened right there. Tango was off. Arrow getting a little slowed up. Koala right behind AJ as they're all trying to get back going. Meanwhile, Tiger looks to run down LT for the 3rd spot as Big Jim looks to keep the 00 of Kenny honest at the front of the field. Trying to keep him within range. Not trying to let him get too far away. Back behind this battle for 3rd, LT and Tiger. Obviously, we saw Tiger out front at the end of that last stage. He's the one to make the least amount of mistakes that stage, and he'll look inside of LT off to the 4th corner. It's another great opportunity to dive bomb someone, try and late break it, do some engine braking into that corner. That it's turn 4 and turn 2, the keyhole and turn 4 that are really the corners where passing is going to be the easiest to do throughout this race. We'll see drivers send it into those corners to try and make it stick. Even turn 1 at some points can be a big corner to try and send it in and make it work. So Big Jim's still going down to 2nd gear through the corners like the S's. That kind of, it's not really an infield section because there's no infield to this track, but I'd call it the infield section with kind of how it is we have a car stopped. I think that's BKR is stopped on the track. I don't know if he maybe somehow got a penalty. I don't think I've ever seen someone get a penalty at Mid-Ohio, but I assume it is possible. As now BKR is going to go into pit road. So he'll, after whatever happened there, he'll go down pit road and get fuel, and he won't have to save to the end. That can also be a play, though, because you come down, right, and at some point you could still get a manual at some points. Big Jim is, I didn't notice this last stage, but he's putting it into neutral, entering the keyhole to save. He is coasting it in there, out of gear, and then shifting it back up into 3rd immediately in the middle of the keyhole. That is, he's trying to save fuel in a different way, while we see drivers like Kenny are just keeping it in 4th at points throughout the lap where they should maybe be going down to 3rd or 2nd. Kenny's keeping it in 4th and keeping it in 3rd, so doing some short shifts as well. So kind of all the different ways to save. If you're Big Jim, you have the clutch, you can do that. If you're Kenny and, you know, you're just out here trying to do it a different way, you're just keeping it 4th, keeping it high gear for most of this ways. We still have 4 cars packed together as This is where the fuel saving comes into play. The front two are saving. Tiger and LT, they might be saving it, but they might not be saving as much. Kenny's keeping it in fourth through the low gear corners, which is keeping him slower. Meanwhile, Big Jim is still putting it down to third, putting it down to second, but coasting it into certain corners, keeping well over the back of Kenny. And what are Tiger and LT doing? It didn't look like Tiger was saving as much as Kenny is. They're gonna go 3 wide to turn 1 for the lead. Obviously, Tiger not having fuel saving in mind. LT looking to make it a 4-car race. Big Jim out in front again here at Mid-Ohio. Kenny trying to come back, and LT looks to make it 3 wide up the inside into the keyhole. A big send for the 19. There'll be 3 wide through the keyhole. Big Jim on the outside of it all. Kenny in the middle trying to pinch through and trying to get the lead out of it. Back to the lead for the 00 for now. Big Jim still trying to get the side drift and fight back down through turn 3. Kenny keeps it out front somehow through all that. Big Jim and LT now bound for second. Off to turn number 4. This has been an outstanding stage. We have 4 cars still right under the blanket for the lead, and we have some more entering. Allen and Workman are 5th and 6th looking to join on the fun. And you have Big Jim off in the garage. You have Kenny still keeping it 4th through the low gear corners. So this is still going to get tight together as these drivers try to save fuel, make it to the end. Some saving maybe more aggressively than others. If you save aggressively now, try and keep it out front for your Kenny as Big Jim moves around. Now LT looks to move to second. But the goal here is to try and maintain all the track position. If you're someone trying to save aggressively, you try to do it now and then go hard later, while some drivers might try and save all throughout, but save just slight, not try and push the fuel saving as hard. So this has been a very entertaining stage. Now Allen's on the back of the battle. Oh, he gets loosened into the gravel for Allen. He keeps it out of the track, but loses that spot. He was right on the back door of the battle right from him. That was for third. And now he'll fall out from 5th spot all the way back to about 7th or so. And you have LT getting pressure from Kenny and getting pressure from Tiger off into the keyhole. Tiger and Kenny are side by side for third. LT wide will get back into the gas sooner. Workman in front of KD. That is right now the 5th position. So trying to look here and see how close some of these drivers are on fuel. How close is Big Jim on fuel? How close is Kenny on fuel? There are some aggressive sends out of Kenny and Tiger. Big Jim still looks like he's saving into the heavy braking corners as he's trying to make it work in the 3-car. He's still about, I would say, a little bit more than half a lap short. I'd say maybe about 2/3 of a lap short on fuel is Big Jim. Kenny still good for about half a lap, and he's still on 5 laps of fuel as we're actually coming around to 5 to go this time by. So Kenny, I would say, is about half a lap short on fuel compared to Big Jim, is about 2/3. So that's once again the different fuel saving mechanisms. Kenny is max fuel saving, keeping it in 4th, keeping it in 3rd, while Big Jim's still going on 2nd through the corners that need it, but kind of coasting it into some corners and doing some short shifts. He's not as aggressive on the fuel saving, trying to just do the bare minimum he needs, while Kenny's maybe trying to get enough until where he can push it on the last lap. So it's all going to maybe come together towards the end of the stage as we have now 4 laps of racing to go. Big Jim, LT, Tiger, Kenny are the front 4, all tightly packed together. KD in 5th. Is he saving fuel? Has he finished saving fuel? Is fuel saving not in it for him? Because remember, he stayed out under the stage yellow or did some sort of strategy. Whatever he did, it got on the track position. What is he doing now in the 5th position to try and get it done? Tiger with a look on LT. Is maybe Tiger done saving and pushing now? As KD goes wide in turn 4 and off into the grass, is LT maybe on the same savings as Big Jim, doing some casual saving here and there, not trying to push it? Big Jim barely saves any that lap. He's still about 2/3 of a lap short, so he needs to do some more. Tiger through to 2nd. Kenny, we'll see how close he is on fuel. Can he start pushing at some point? Once we get down to if you're running out in the final 3 corners, I'd just start pushing it at that point. We'll see what Kenny does as we're coming to 3 to go this time by. Big Jim still out in front of the stage, looking to win it. As Kenny, he's good up into, he's good up until, I would say, about turn 11 or so. He's through LT now up to 3rd. So now Kenny with now 3 to go. He's just a few corners short of being able to make it. If I'm him, I'm maybe just starting to push it. You see Tiger up there. You can't let Tiger get up there and start challenging Big Jim and then have him dispose of Big Jim quickly. Kenny needs to stay with Tiger. That is I'd say that's his main threat for the stage win. Even though Big Jim's leading, he still has to save more fuel, while Kenny only has to save 3 corners, and God knows how much Tiger has saved and how close he is. Tiger might be good to go on fuel as he's putting the pressure on Big Jim into turn 3. That that little turn. It's not even really a turn. It's just a little veer off into the right there. We'll see how much Big Jim has saved this lap. He's been running out, according to his fuel savings, off of 4 every lap for the past 2. This time he'll save some more, so he did save some more that lap. He saved through turn 5 and through turn 6, so he's still good to that front. Now he's about half a lap short now. Come to 2 to go. He has to save half a lap in 2 laps. It is possible. Kenny getting a little loose back there, corrects the car, but now loses time to the front 2, and it's a challenge from LT again. So Kenny, once again, a mistake late in these stages. Cost him the stage win possibly last time. It might cost him the stage win this time, or at least a chance at the stage win. As Tiger has put pressure on Big Jim with now 2 laps to go. If you're Big Jim, you're trying to save and also manage the gap to the 32 all at the same time. This is going to be a drive if Big Jim wants to get it done. We'll see if he can try and do it in these final 2 laps. It's going to be close. It's going to be hard. But if anyone can do it, it might be Big Jim. 2 to go in the stage. Tiger, pressure on the 3, but Tiger the one to go wide in the keyhole, trying to get a better run off, trying to get a straighter run off, get back in the gas sooner. Big Jim off in the grass, got a wheel off, so that's going to be a better run down the straightaway for Tiger. Looks to the right side of Big Jim. Is he close enough for maybe a dive bomb into turn 4? He looks, he tries. Big Jim covers it off. The 3 able to maintain. But with having to maintain out in front of the 32, how much fuel is Big Jim able to save while doing this? Tiger looks to the right, inside, in turn number 6. Can he complete it? Can Big Jim keep the fight up? Or does he have to save the fuel? They're still side by side, up through the S's. Big Jim is on the left. Tiger is on the right. Big Jim is still about half a lap short on fuel. So the question is, how much does he get once it hits 0 to start sputtering? And this battling allows Kenny to move back up. It's a 3-car fight. Big Jim have to surrender to Tiger as they go through the carousel. Here's Kenny looking to the right of Big Jim. Tiger is through to the lead. Kenny is through to second. It's down between the third turn, the 00 at the white flag of the stage. This is the last lap. Big Jim has surrendered. Now his fight is just trying to stay third, keep the track position for the final stage. The last lap is underway. Tiger leads Kenny, who leads Big Jim, who leads LT. That's the front 4 as they race up to the keyhole turn 2, and we assume the front 2 are good on fuel. We know Kenny is definitely good. Tiger also probably has to be good if he started going and pushing on Big Jim that aggressively. Tiger greatly off the keyhole. Kenny loose and loses second to Big Jim, and that might be the stage wrapped up unless Tiger makes a huge mistake. It's over because Big Jim, we know he's still close and questionable on fuel, and Kenny now too far back to mount a charge. So I have to see if Tiger makes a mistake. I doubt he will. He's not prone to making these big mistakes, especially when he has a nice sizable gap. He doesn't have to push it that hard. He might just try and back it off and use up all the gap he has. The question is now going to be, can Big Jim coast that thing around in second? When we last saw, he was a half a lap short from making it to the end of this stage. So now, where's Big Jim? He saved a little bit of fuel that lap. I think he started to sputter right there in the 3 car. It's getting close. He's back going. We'll have to see now through the final few corners. He's hit 0 for a good amount of time now, but the slower final corners might be able to help that as he backs off into the front bumper of Kenny. The 3 is definitely running short, but Kenny spins off the final corner. Allen moves by LT. Kenny's through. Big Jim gets second as Tiger wins the stage. Arrow is out of fuel as we had a chaotic fight to the end there for second, third, fourth, and fifth. Allen moves by LT at the end for fourth. Kenny holds on to third, but Big Jim able to hold on to second. That was just enough fuel saving for Big Jim right there. So 20 laps in the books. For this one, it's been fuel saving all throughout LT, and I don't know how long this final stage is going to be. I assume it's going to be somewhere around the 20 lap mark. I know you're hoping it's a little bit longer than that, so that it's just a simple, straightforward, pit stop or 2. But if it is going to be fuel saving for both the runs, do you feel confident that you can try and hold it up there and stay in it with Tiger, Big Jim, and Kenny?
I mean, if it's fuel saving, I might get a top 5, but I surely won't win. These guys seem like they're really good on saving fuel, especially in that second stage. They were able to keep a pace and also save at the same time. So I don't think I could really keep up in that sense. But if it's just racing, I don't know. That was the beginning of stage 2 was really fun, just battling there with 3 wide and almost 4 wide at times. So yeah, I don't know. This is fun. I hope it goes green and we don't have to worry about fuel.
Yeah, I saw that Big Jim said there would be 21 laps left, but also it'll tick off some laps. So we'll see if maybe it ticks off enough to where it's only going to be a 1 stop, and maybe it's just fuel save for one run in this race as Tiger will take the green flag from the lead. Big Jim to his right in second. We're back going to turn one. This is going to be a frantic restart. This could be the final one. This is the final planned one for sure. Let's see how it goes. 18 laps. So I think, if I'm looking at that correctly, that's just going to be a simple 9-9 cut. So fuel saving, probably out the window there. It's just going to be now go hard in both of these segments. It looks like it's just going to be a split down the middle as we have a battle for the lead. Big Jim trying to get by Tiger, as now with fuel saving pretty much out of the equation, these drivers are going to be pushing it very, very hard to try and get the track position, because this could be the final restart, the final planned one. We'll see who can try and get the track position, get out front here. Kenny off into the grass. Tiger and Big Jim contact. Up over the curbs they go. Big Jim comes out the lead. Tiger, aggressive send. Big Jim wide into turn 5, and now into turn 6. Tiger clears and leads. The battle's on for second, though. Kenny looking on Big Jim. LT looking on Kenny. It's a three-way fight for that, and then behind them for 5th, Allen and Workman go at it door to door. Allen a little bit slam on Workman right there. Kenny trying to find a way around. Big Jim was trying to find a way around that number 32 of Tiger, who I think went off. Yeah, he did. So now Big Jim leads in the 3. How about that? Now Tiger may have... This is kind of like the start of stage 1. Tiger made that mistake in turn 1. Put him back. He's only back to 4th. He can see leaders right in front of him, and they're still battling. Kenny's looking on Big Jim, who's trying to get a better run off of the corner. Kenny, Big Jim, and LT are going to go 3 wide to turn 1. Big Jim backs out of it. Kenny chops off LT. Big Jim gets the run off turn 1 to get second. Kenny off into the grass, and Big Jim looking for a run up to the keyhole to try and make it work. We'll see if he dives in on Kenny, or does he play it safe? Looks like he's going to play it safe. Oh! LT got sent by, I think that was Tiger. And LT off into the gravel trap. That looked like... It looked very aggressive out of Tiger, but who knows if LT maybe had to check up for Big Jim, if Tiger just didn't see that coming. But it was obviously very aggressive, and that's one of those corners where I said if you're going to enter behind someone, you can't do it right behind them. You're going to have to go... Oh, and now Allen aggressively sends it on Tiger. So these guys are being aggressive at this early stage in stage 3. But, you know, that keyhole is a corner where if you're going to enter near someone, you definitely want to do either a lane to their left or a lane to their right, depending on where they are. I would never want to enter right on the back bumper. Someone, Kenny goes wide through the technical portion of this racetrack, and Big Jim moves out to the front. Tiger back up to the second, and Kenny now under fire in 3rd place. That's Allen on his bumper. Allen maybe gives a shot to the 00, but the 88 gives it back to Kenny. Lets Kenny keep 3rd as they now go through the carousel. We'll see if Big Jim can hold on to the lead over Tiger, and we'll see if the pollster can get back up to the front after falling back to 4th a lap ago. Workman right behind Allen. Here's a pass between Arrow and LT. We haven't really talked about Arrow much today because he's kind of been back there around midfield, about 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And now he's bound with LT, kind of door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel, as Arrow got through turn 1 with a little bit of a crossover. LT looks to send the keyhole to get by. A very aggressive send out of the 19. Goes wide, tries to get the straight run off, though. That relates to a nice run off the corner. Arrow kind of door slamming there, trying to slow the momentum of the 19. They'll now drag race off to turn 3. LT pinching Arrow, maybe not appreciative of the contact off of turn number 2. And now off to turn 4. Who's going to play the game of chicken with braking? LT plays it to perfection, able to clear the 48, and now has his sights set on the battle up in front, which is Tiger out in front. Kenny, though, there in second. Allen moves up to 3rd. Big Jim under fire in 4th from Workman, who's in 5th, and LT back up to 6th, looking to gain as Kenny once again. That's wide. He's been doing that a lot this race. Whatever it is about that corner, he just cannot get down. He's always wide and off into the grass, and that's where he loses all of his time. Really, it's just through that corner right there. I think everywhere else, he's about as good or even better than Tiger. That's just that one corner through that technical portion that does not suit Kenny well. Allen now up to 2nd. Kenny in 3rd. Workman up to 4th by Big Jim, who's now back to 5th. LT looking to get that top 5 spot back. He mentioned if it was fuel saving, he thought he had top 5. If it was not fuel saving, he thought he could maybe battle with the likes of Kenny and Tiger. Well, now he's up to 5th. Get by Big Jim as Allen went wide off turn 1, and Kenny is back up to 2nd, but Tiger has a good distance over the field. Let's see how it works out for him as they go through the keyhole turn 2. LT's next sight is Workman. Workman's next sight is obviously Allen in the 88. Meanwhile, Kenny has to be looking at Tiger, wondering how he can try and erase that gap. It is a long ways up to that 32. Obviously, a mistake would do it, but will Tiger make that mistake? We've seen in the past at road courses, it's, you know, Kenny's really fast there, but he's also inconsistent at these types of tracks. At some points, he pushes too hard for his own good. He thinks he can maybe throw it off in the corner a little bit more than he can, and he's prone to making those mistakes, especially when he's either under pressure or he's trying to gain on someone. Well, now he's trying to gain on someone, trying to gain on Tiger, someone who is no slouch on these road courses. So Kenny has to be pushing very, very hard here. You know it. How is he going to overstep the boundary at some point, push too hard to where he might make a mistake? Obviously, Kenny hoping that he can try and run that 32 down, but at some point, do you just get back? It's very easy to make a mistake at a road course. You push the gas too hard, you get loose off a corner, you're in the grass, you're in the wall, you're spun around, something along the lines of that. You maybe, and you try and engine brake too much, and you just full send off through a corner, and you go off into the gravel trap. So, I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that can be made at road courses, especially a 13-turn road course. There's 13 chances to make mistakes. So, if you're Kenny, you know, you might feel good about your chances. You might feel good about racing that track like Mid-Ohio, but you also don't want to be the one in pursuit. You want to be the one being chased, because that's where you can kind of take it easy and just kind of play it out nicely. So watching Tiger into turn 4, while Kenny might be doing very aggressive engine braking, Tiger could just kind of roll it off in there and be all right with it, and he might still be losing time to Kenny, but once Kenny gets there, then Tiger could maybe ramp it up. Obviously, it'd never be the best scenario to have someone up with you at a road course battling for the win, but if Tiger feels like he needs to back it down to make sure he keeps that car going straight, he can do it, back it off to Kenny. And you can see Kenny, I think he's visibly closed just a little bit. It's not a lot, but he has closed a little bit, while the battle for third is also closed up. Workman's on the back of Allen, and Workman not being able to get around the 88 has allowed LT to close in and make it a 3-car race for that third spot. So right now Allen holds the third spot, Workman is in the 4th spot, and right behind that, LT in 5th. B-Cars worked his way up to 6th, going for 3 straight. That's the first time I've really talked about him ever since he had his off in Stage 2. And he's worked up nicely to 6th place after those issues, as LT makes the pass for 4th on Workman. Workman conceding the spot, knowing the 19 is a lot faster, and said, you go up there and try and get the 88. When you do it, I might be able to follow you through. So maybe some cooperation happening there between those two drivers from 4th and 5th. LT really good through the keyhole right there. Workman really struggled, and I think he even gained time at Allen through there. So definitely one of LT's strengths, maybe that keyhole. He's able to get through it very, very nicely, and it's been able to work out for him. As Tiger now enters turn 4, the gap has been cut down. Last time at this point it was 1.7 seconds. This time it's down to 1 second. So obviously Kenny pushing very, very aggressively. Tiger might be just backing up, saving a little bit of stuff, and maybe just trying to keep that thing, all 4 tires on course and out of the grass, trying to not make those mistakes that can easily happen when you're out in front pushing hard at a road course. As Kenny, oh, that was almost a big mistake. Very loose off of that corner right there, but it did a great job correcting and not losing any time to Tiger. If he lost any time, it was just a 10th or so. It was not a big loss for Kenny. He's within now a second of the race leader. Kenny pushing very aggressively, showing that he maybe has the car to beat here, but can he get up there to Tiger? And when he does, what does he do to try and move around him? And if they start to battle, watch out for 3rd place Allen, 4th place LT, and even 5th place Workman. They could all be up there, and it could be a 4 or 5 car race. And once again, you're going to have to make pit stops in about 2 or 3 laps, so watch out for that. Pit road entry, how many of these drivers know how to do it, and who can do it the best? Kenny really good through the keyhole, closed in on Tiger again as they now race down this long straightaway. Kenny trying to get the draft off Tiger to try and close in even closer into turn 4, put more pressure on that 32 car. Kenny is within now about 3-4 car lengths of the back bumper of Tiger. He is there. Tiger trying to keep it out in front, but Kenny not letting the 32 get away, keeping him honest. It's within half a second for the race lead. Kenny versus Tiger at the front of the field. This is definitely a battle you want to watch at a road course like this, a technical road course, one where it comes down to the drivers really. This is one that you want to watch. Kenny versus Tiger, two very, very good, consistent drivers, two very fast drivers when you come to a road course like this, and they're right now within about half a second of each other for this race lead. It is close as they enter the carousel. Kenny harder into the braking zone, trying to get a better run off into turn 13, then off into the front stretch. Tiger maybe gaps a little right there as they race off to turn 1. They're within just a couple laps of pitting. It looks like a battle for third. LT inside of Allen and will get that 3rd spot. So the front 3, how they started is how they run. Well, maybe not. Allen looks to get back by the 19 and does. So Allen lifted early into turn 1 and got the run off. If you're someone like LT, that might be a little aggravating to you because you caught the 88 from a good bit back. and then the 88, you're beside the 88 down the front stretch, and then the 88 kind of just does that where he just lifts early and then goes back by around you with a better exit speed. So I think if you're LT, you might just be a little bit aggravated with that move, because that's costly on the time. You know, these front two could start battling and could start, you know, messing around with each other, forcing each other into mistakes and running each other off and into the walls and whatnot. You never know what could happen. So obviously for LT, you might be just a little bit annoyed with Allen with that move. But this is the final stage, and we're nearing pit stops. So obviously these drivers looking for every spot, all the track position they can keep for this pit stop coming up, as they're going to have to pit soon. They're going to have to pit with 9 to go. That is the only strategy here, is to pit with 9 to go, unless you want to do fuel saving and pit early and then have to save a lap. But you're going to split it 9 and 9. It's an 18-lap stage. You get 9 laps of fuel. You'll go 9-9. You'll be good. But Tiger's now pulled back away from Kenny. So maybe that was Tiger backing up a little bit, you know, just taking it easy. Kenny got close to him. He now opens it back up to 2 seconds. So it's back to where it was just a few laps ago. Tiger over Kenny by 2 seconds. And maybe Kenny just kind of wore the stuff off of his car, and he'll definitely be looking forward to that pit stop to try and gain time. They'll be coming to 9 to go this time by, and the whole field will be on pit road to make it to the end on fuel and tires. So we'll have to see how that works out. Right now, no real battles around this racetrack. Everyone kind of comfortably into their spots. There are some close battles a little bit further back, as well, as soon as I started focusing on it, AJ went off and into the dirt. So I'm going to call that some sort of commentator's jinx, even though I didn't mention his name. I was still looking at the car, and it happened to go off into the gravel. So I think that was something to do with me. It was like the first time I looked at AJ pretty much all race long. So now Kenny 3 seconds down on Tiger, losing ground to that 32. But Tiger, oh, he made a mistake. Tiger made a mistake, and now Kenny's there. So Tiger had a 3-second advantage coming to pit stops. Didn't do it, but he stays out. Tiger's staying out near the lap. Kenny's into pit road. So Kenny has pitted. That's 9 to go. You can definitely make it from there. The question is, why did Tiger stay out near the lap? Did he feel comfortable about doing that? Did he not notice? Was he too... I would assume that he just... I don't know. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see how this extra lap to go for Tiger is. Allen has also stayed out. That's honestly shocking to me that they would have done that, because you get 9 laps. You know, it says you get 10, but it immediately switches down to 9. So it's basically 9 laps of fuel. So, I mean, Tiger must have been saving. You know, maybe when he let Kenny catch up to him, he was saving to go another lap. But why would you go another lap? Is my question. Why not just split it 9 and 9? That would definitely be the strategy I would want to play in that scenario. But we'll see. Now Tiger is approaching the pit road entry along with Allen. They have both stayed out. Kenny's also had some more drivers in front of him stay out. So that's how that works out, as Tiger now goes through the carousel. He should be hitting pit road this time. There he goes in, and I assume he'll be quickly followed by Allen as well. So with Tiger going in a lap later, Allen also follows him in. Kenny needs a huge outlap, and I don't know if he's getting it. Looked like he may have made a mistake there off of, I think that was off of turn 6. He got into the grass. So we'll have to see if he can try and close in on Tiger, who is now entering his pit stall. Kenny into the final 3 corners, turns 11, 12, and 13. The very slow carousel, and the very tricky turn 13. Very inviting to have you get to the gas, but it can easily spin the tires. We'll have to see where Tiger comes out. He's in his pit stall, still there. Still in his pit stall. Still waiting. He leaves now, off into turn 1. Where is Kenny? He's entering turn 1. They are side by side through 1. Kenny with the undercut trying to get off Tiger. Kenny's in the grass. Tiger back in the gas. And Tiger able to clear, but Kenny's on the back bumper, the 32, to turn number 2. And now Kenny puts the bumper to Tiger off of the keyhole. Sends him into the grass. They're hitting. Kenny now out in front of this race. Kenny now leads. The undercut works. And now you also have to think, this is a road course. At a road course, the tires are almost better when they're worn. So if you're Kenny, you're gonna have a lap more on them. But while that should be a disadvantage. It might be a benefit for him. He might be able to do it. Allen also gained a good amount of time on pit cycles. He's now closed in on this battle for the race lead. We could have 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, because look behind Allen. It's LT in 4th, Workman in 5th, and right in the bumper of them in 6th place. Who is that? I saw a car back there. There is another one back in that fight. It looks like it's Big Jim. So we could have 6 cars right here if the front 2 start fooling around. We'll see if now Kenny can pull away from Tiger. Can Tiger try and work that gap back down? And we've seen the front 2. They've been very aggressive here today. As Allen made a mistake there off the final corner. We've seen the front 2 be very aggressive as they're going to go for a side-by-side pass in turn 1. Tiger looking to the left of Kenny, who looks to get the better drive off of the top of 1 and does. But we've seen these front 2, they've made so many mistakes so far here today. Tiger's made a few, about 2 or 3. Kenny's made numerous, as Allen dove in deep on LT, sends the 19 wide, and LT just gets back on the gas and will clear the 88, and he's hoping that that's the last he sees him in the rest of this race, because they've been battling a lot this third stage, and there's been some contact numerous times between the two. Big Jim also moves to 4th off that. Allen now down to 5th, but now for LT, the main goal is just try and run clean laps. It doesn't have to be, on fire, because no one's expecting you to run down Kenny and Tiger at a road course like this. However, once, if they stay like this, there's going to be mistakes to be made. So if you're LT, you're just here to run clean laps and get up to their bumpers and hope they force each other into mistakes and run each other wide into the grass. They start getting to the gas too much. They start getting too greedy on the throttle. They start spinning out, because Tiger and Kenny, they were battling right there through the S's and through the technical portion of this racetrack. And right here into the carousel, Tiger again looks to close in on Kenny and make it work. We're within the final 10 laps. Tiger, a dive into the carousel, gets beneath Kenny. Now to turn 13. Tiger going to pitch Kenny off, and Tiger now leads this race. We're getting down to the wire. Tiger now leads over Kenny, but they have had pretty similar race cars in terms of speed. Tiger wide over the curbs. Kenny neater through there and gets to the outside entering the keyhole. 6 laps to go, 5 at the line, and the front 2 are side by side again. Kenny on the outside to the keyhole, sends it deep, but maybe too deep. Tiger trying to get the run now off the corner. Kenny looks to do the switchback to cut back under. Kenny can't do it. Tiger maintains out in front, but how big is the draft for Kenny? Down the straightaway to turn 4, and who's able to send in the most? LT maybe closing in 3rd just a little bit. Big Jim lurking in 4th as well, as Allen in 5th has a mirrorful from behind from Workman. We'll have to see here. 5 to go at the line. LT is closing in. Even when they aren't battling, he closed in a little bit there through 4, 5, and 6 through this technical portion. Now as they come up through the S's, this has been Kenny's Achilles heel all day long. He's able to get through it well there, but Tiger threw it well as Kenny was. You see Tiger here, and to that left-hander right before the carousel. Carousel, another one of those inviting corners. Kind of almost a double apex carousel. There's 2 different corners to it. It's not like a normal carousel. You see it like a Watkins Glen or somewhere like a Sonoma's. We have 5 laps to go in this race. Everyone is good on fuel. The question is, who has the fastest car? Who can get to the lead at the right time? And who makes the least amount of mistakes in these final 5 laps? Obviously, mistakes are the name of the game at the road courses. A lot of them are made over every single lap, whether they be minor or major. Tiger and Kenny are hoping for no major ones, hoping that they can try and battle each other out, but LT also hoping that he can try and close in. They're all within about 2 seconds of each other for the race lead within the final 5 laps of this race. Tiger leads from pole, looking to try and end out what has been basically a perfect day. But we saw at the end of the last run, he made a mistake when he was 3 seconds up on Kenny. He had a 3-second advantage over the 00, and it went to side by side in 1 mistake. If Tiger makes that same mistake, he doesn't have the luxury of a 3-second gap. They're within a second of him now. So if Tiger makes a mistake, Kenny and LT would be by. The question is, if there is a mistake, how big is the mistake if it's any one of the front 3? LT can see they're using up all of the racetrack, all of the curbs, desperately trying to catch the front 2 as Tiger opens up a little bit of a gap on Kenny, up to about a tenth and a quarter, or excuse me, a second and a quarter on the 00. As Tiger's off turn 13, now 4 laps to go at Mid-Ohio. Tiger leads Kenny by just about a second. but that lead could definitely evaporate. Kenny once again using the inside route through 1. Tiger likes to keep it out over through the curbs. He likes to keep it up above the curbs. Kenny likes to go down to that grass area, and it does gain him some time through turn 1. That time by he gained about 2/10 on the 32 of Tiger. Through the keyhole, they all did it pretty well. Kenny just wants to be just a little bit closer to pressure Tiger into some sort of mistake. As once again, Kenny gains about 1/10 off of the keyhole. Now down into turn number 4. Looking to gain now through 5 and 6, these technical portions of the racetrack. One where if you're the leader and you're getting back into the gas sooner, you could definitely easily be over-inviting on the gas pedal and spin it out. Oh, Tiger, very loose right there. Very loose, not in the grass. Kenny's there, but he's also wide. So, oh, Kenny spun out. No. Oh, my gosh. I think he saw Tiger make that mistake, and he said, this is my chance. He threw it in deep, but did not make the corner, spun out in the curbs, and now Kenny's chances at the win are next to 0. He's back now to 4th behind Big Jim. LT's also passed his 2nd. Now, does Tiger make a mistake for LT to somehow close in? Tiger has a comfortable margin at the stripe. We don't have many laps left. Tiger leads by a good margin over LT and over Big Jim. 3 laps to go at Mid-Ohio. The lead over Big Jim is 4 seconds. The lead over LT, just a little bit less than that, but not much. It's maybe about 2 seconds back to LT. But once again, mistakes are inviting at road courses. We don't normally see some of these drivers make that many mistakes. But if one were to come, it would be in the final laps of a road course race when the win is on the line. Pressure starts to ramp. The good thing for Tiger, he has a gap. He doesn't have to full push it. Because now his nearest competitor, Kenny, his biggest rival in this race, off through the portion of the racetrack where Kenny's been having trouble all race long. So we'll have to see if Tiger can just kind of manage these final 2.5 laps. He doesn't have to push it hard. He can, you know, he has about 2 seconds or so to play with. He can even put that down to maybe a second. You know, if LT's within a second, that's still not close enough to make the big moves. LT would have to be within tenths. So it'll just be interesting to see as we close out this race. Can Tiger do it for 2 more laps just cleanly? Nothing spectacular, nothing showy, nothing flashy. Just run clean, solid laps. You don't need anything big. That was 2 to go right there for Tiger in the 32. The only cautions we had today were those stage yellows, the manual yellows. The whole sector issues didn't have to come into play here today, and maybe for the best, because sometimes drivers can't even do manuals at an oval track where it's at the start-finish line or stuff like that. I don't know if I'd be able to imagine them having to go at certain sectors and wondering where the sectors are, where the restart zones. So maybe it's a good thing we didn't see anything like that here today at Mid-Ohio. But Tiger just has to do about a lap and a half more, and he'll be winner from pole position here at Mid-Ohio. Kenny is off again. So Kenny made another big mistake, off again. He was trying to run Big Jim back down for that 3rd spot. He'll actually lose 4th to Allen, who moves around him. But once again, we have to focus on Tiger to make sure no mistakes are made. He's through the S's and these technical portions of the track. He's trying to get through it as fast as possible, also as clean as possible. Trying to not get close to the grass and trying to just stay all 4 wheels on the pavement. Trying to even keep it off the curbs, as the curbs could even spin you around. The grass could slow you down. You could see some curb glitches as Tiger is through the carousel, and then through turn 13, he'll see the white flag this time by, looking for a win at Mid-Ohio. One more time around for Tiger in the 32. He's thoroughly dominated this race and looking to cap it out with the victory. That time he goes inside the curbs through turn 1. So changing it up on the last lap for Tiger as they race now down the 2nd longest straightaway on the racetrack and off into turn number 2, the keyhole. The gap back to LT growing every single lap by a few tenths, and he's looking to get his first victory in the Elite Racer Series, presented by WG Construction Roofing and Richmar Florist. Tiger definitely hoping he can get a bouquet of flowers at the end of this one in victory lane as they race off here. Tiger just being conservative into turn 4 and then turn 5. Obviously, this is an area of the racetrack that car gets very light. Tiger easily onto the gas. I don't even think he really got on it that much. He's just trying to nurse that thing home. He has such a huge gap. He doesn't have to run a qualifying lap here. This is just a lap to win the race for Tiger. Half a lap to go at Mid-Ohio. Looks like it's going to be Tiger first, LT second, Big Jim third, barring any crazy circumstances playing out here at Mid-Ohio. Final time through the carousel for Tiger. It's been a dominant day from pole position through 12 and through 13. Tiger will claim Mid-Ohio. He wins this race. Second place to LT. Big Jim will get third. Allen fourth. Fifth place, Kenny gets by Workman on the last lap. In fact, he gets by Allen. So Kenny will get to fourth at the end. Allen, a mistake off of the final corner, will fall back to fifth. So something interesting. Allen, we've seen that many times today as well, where he kind of just spun off of turn 12 and made that mistake. Allen back to fifth. Workman sixth. BKR, his quest for 3 in a row, falls short in seventh. Arrow eighth. Brennan and Pens round out the top 10, but the top 3 finishers are Tiger, LT, and Big Jim. Tiger definitely dominating the day. LT with just a very, very solid day. I think he was basically inside the top 5 all day, and Big Jim is kind of up and down the board. He was towards the bottom at first, and then kind of moved back up, and then moved low again, and then moved back up. So it's a very, very roller coaster day for Big Jim, but I'm sure he'll definitely take that third place behind 2 of really good pair of road course racers right there in Tiger and LT. So for Big Jim, I'm sure he'll definitely take that. He finished around some really, really, really good people at the road courses, so I don't think he can complain too much from that finishing result in this one. So it was an interesting one from Mid-Ohio, the third road course race of the season. In fact, it's the second to last one. The next one in, I would say, about a month's time. It's going to be at Canadian Tire. That's in the Chase, I believe. So that'll be a fun one to watch out. But next week is going to be Kansas, 1.5 mile draft track, run up against the wall. So that could be a fun one to watch. And we're going to see Slide Job City there and a lot of different maneuvers. That's going to be a fun one to watch next week at Kansas. Definitely tune in then next week at the same time. Well, we're getting the top 3 finishers in here. We'll start with third place finisher Big Jim. Now, Big Jim, that was a very interesting race, it looked like, from your perspective. You were up and down the leaderboard and ended up in third place at the end, even bound for the lead at some points throughout the race. Take us through it, because you're up there bound with some really, really good road course racers in Tiger and Kenny and LT. What was it like there, especially when fuel saving wasn't a factor in it?
Yeah, good is an understatement to Tiger and LT and Kenny especially. I mean, those guys are just bad fast on any road course you go to, but this was one that I gave Max a run for his money at, and just thinking about it, just imagine if these guys were in that league with Max, what kind of show would they'd be able to put on. It's just uncanny to think about. I mean, if only Max joined this league, we could find out. But, it was fun. We had a lot of great battles, and I feel like I was able to hold my own when I had fresh tires, but once it came down to the nitty-gritty in the long run, I couldn't hang on. Tiger and Kenny were so far out front.
I would say that was a very solid race for you. You were up and down the leaderboard. Like every time you were moving. So definitely an up to end the race. Congratulations on your third place and finishing behind, as you said, 2 very, very good road course racers. I'm sure you'll take it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Move on to second place LT, who was very dreadful of maybe fuel mileage at the end, but fortunately for you, did not come down to that. You were able to race out there to the end, and you took advantage of some mistakes out of some of the front runners, got second there at the end. You were up inside the top 5. All race had a spirited battle in stage 3 with Allen in the 88. Take us through the last laps from your perspective, because you were there kind of behind the Kenny and Tiger battle when it was going on.
Yeah, that was a fun race. Maybe not the fuel saving part. I kind of struggled in that sense, but at the end there, that was a great battle. Tiger, I guess, I don't know if he misjudged the braking zone, but it sent me into the sand, and I knew I had some work to do because I fell back to like 7th. So I just try to count on them making mistakes and trying to make clean passes. I hit some people off the track, who I apologize to, but overall that was a really fun race, especially stage 2 where we were going like 3 wide and everything. That's I think we had some of the best road course racers on NASCAR Heat 5 in this lobby, so I think it was a really, really good show.
I would like to say you turned yourself into quite the road course racer. I'm pretty sure the first race I ever commentated with you in it was Charlotte, Roval, and Echo, and you were like 10th all day. somewhere around there in that race, and now you're up here battling with Tiger and Kenny at road courses. So I'd say that's a really big turnaround, LT. Congratulations on your second. Definitely one of the most consistent drivers at road courses this season. He might not be able to wait for Canadian Tire in the chase. And we'll move to the race winner, Tiger, who was the dominator of the day. I'd say lead the most laps and had many spirited battles with Kenny throughout the race, especially there at the end. But what was it like? Because it looked like at some points Kenny would get out front, he'd make a huge mistake. You'd get out front, especially before that last pit stop, then you made a huge mistake. You lost your 3-second lead. So take us through that, because it's very easy to make mistakes at a track like Mid-Ohio. What was it like, especially there at the end when you knew you had a nice gap over LT in second?
Just first off, I want to apologize to LT. I broke a lot. I know he was going to break that early, but yeah, especially the first 2 stages, I was saving a lot of fuel. I was running a gear up from where I normally would around this track, so I think both of me and Kenny in the first stage didn't know what we had to save. So I also just made a lot of mistakes on the restarts, and that was part of our problems as well. But in the end, it was just who made less mistakes. I just made less mistakes.
I think that's definitely the battle of the road course races in any league, is just make the least amount of mistakes you did today, and that's your first win of the season. So some nice momentum there, and we'll have to see how it goes next race at Kansas for you. Congratulations on the win. Very, very dominant day for sure. You and Kenny were the fastest, but you were just out front at the right time, made the least mistakes, as you mentioned. So once again, congratulations on the win. So that is it from Mid-Ohio. A very, very fun race, a very enthralling race all throughout. Definitely very many battles, along with some fuel saving in the first 2 stages. As you mentioned, next week is Kansas. Run the high lane there. We're going to see some slide jobs for sure. That will be a fun one to watch next Sunday. So thanks for watching the Elite Racer Series from Mid-Ohio, presented by Double G Construction and Roofing and Richmar Florist. We'll see you next week for Kansas.